about Rob Thompson getting the interim tag removed?
Yeah, it's great news to start our time here in Atlanta. Not really a whole lot to say about it other than it's incredibly well-deserved. I think that you can just see the way that we respond to him, and I think the rest of the organization has seen that. We've obviously played some pretty good baseball since he's taken over. Just elated for him. He's a baseball man. We're more than happy to go to war for him, as you can tell, and I'm excited to be a part of it, at least for another year.
What can that do for you guys heading into this NLDS? Do you think it can kind of provide some peace of mind?
Sure. I don't know if, the bulk of us that's something that we were really focused on right now. I would be willing to bet that even Thompson would say the same thing. Kind of just makes him who he is. It's nice that I think today, I know he was worried about being a distraction because, of course, he doesn't want it to be about him. But I'm sure he's happy to, go through the processes today. We'll celebrate with him, I'm sure, at some point throughout the day as a group. But take it for what it is and get to work for the rest of the time here.
Jim?
Rhys, just on that topic as well, how was it announced to you guys and what was the reaction?
I was actually getting some treatment when I got the notification on my phone. Again, I'm sure he's been a busy man and didn't want it to be a distraction from the series. So I didn't find out. We didn't find out as a group, not to my knowledge. True, I think, Tomper fashion.
And the other day, Zach Wheeler had a quote. He described Rob as human.
It's fair.
Do you find that is becoming a rare quality in the game?
I think I'm assuming Wheels is just touching on the people aspect of him, right? Like he's such a people person. He can have a conversation with anybody about anything, and he's definitely in on anything baseball, as you've learned. So it's nice that I think he just feels relatable. I don't know if that's just his demeanor. The way that he speaks to you as a person and genuinely listens, there's just a lot of genuine feeling there, I think, when you're around him, and it's incredible to have in the manager's office for sure.
On the right.
Hey, Rhys. After the season Bohm has had, what would you say is the biggest area of growth, whether that be mentally, defensively, offensively, that you've seen?
Yeah. I would say it's mentally, really. This guy was a high draft pick. He was a stud in college. I'm sure he was a stud in high school. Ran through the minor leagues and just hit everywhere he went. And then got to the big leagues and did the same thing. Kind of got slapped in the face like a lot of us do. This is what this game does. But to see him grow and figure out how to get on the other side of some of those valleys that we encounter often in this game is something that he never had to do before and had to learn kind of on the fly. Unfortunately for him, he had to do it under the brightest lights and in a market that we play in, which is honest, right? It's just an honest market. So I'm proud of him for that. Obviously, the stuff on the field, he's come a long way with too, but that just comes with reps. I don't think anybody is surprised by that because of the staff that we have and the work ethic that he has.
Marcus?
I have two for you, Rhys. Number one, you've been around Eflin and Nola a lot. Do you see the same similarities away from the field that we see on the field, and why do you think that they're so, slow heartbeat, cold-blooded?
I like that. I'm gonna, and man, they have been these last couple of weeks, right? Both put in positions that never really been in. Obviously, with Knowles, pitched a ton and pitched really well throughout his career, but never been in a position to clinch. And Eflin just stepping out to the bullpen and assuming the role of fireman, really. And it's been really cool, but it's just a testament to their work ethic. Eflin obviously has had a ton of setbacks with his injuries throughout his career, and that's something that grinds on you. It does, obviously physically, but more mentally than anything when you're not physically able to do the things that you're so used to doing. So It's been amazing to watch Eflin kind of come out on top here towards the end of the year. And then Knowles is just a testament to the consistency that he's shown, at least, behind closed doors and in that clubhouse through the last 5-6 years I've known him.
And you and Aaron, at least I know for sure, have had 4 managers since you've been in the majors. What do you think what we anticipate to be stability with a manager who is sort of had an audition? What do you think that's going to do for this team going forward, at least through the next 2 years, the length of the contract that we know?
Yeah, we haven't had that here really, at least in my time in the big leagues. And it's tough to create something that's long-lasting. We've had obviously some months where we've been what we had all hoped to be in these last 5 years that I've been here. But haven't really been able to hold on to that for a whole year. I think basically since we've taken over, we've been one of the more consistent teams in really the whole league. Sure, maddening at times, but over the long haul of the 110 games that he was the manager, pretty consistent on all sides of the ball. So there's just a comfort there when we know who's going to be at the helm, the coaches that are the rest of the staff that's going to be around as well. There's not a period of time where you have to kind of get to know each other. The coaches have to learn how each of us tick, what we respond to. So that stability on the staff, I think, is just going to lead to more comfort amongst us players. Should lead to better work. The quality should uptick, and I think we'll get better results as a result of that.
Russell?
Rhys, you had a lot of different twists and turns this season as a team, and maybe a lot of other teams might have folded under those same circumstances. What have you kind of learned about this group over the last 3 or 4 months since the turn happened that you guys can take into this postseason? Yeah,
we're definitely not afraid of a challenge, right? We've obviously had 2 huge injuries, 3 or multiple, really. But losing Gene in the end of May, and then Bryce a couple weeks later, and Eflin not being able to come back, and Wheeler, at the end of the year for a month, we've been faced with a few obstacles. But I think with, just us coming together, putting our heads together, and trying to become closer as a group, I think is something that shows out on the field, right? We care about the success that each other are having, and that's something that can become contagious on a team, especially as you get closer to goals that you set out to strive for throughout the year. And just makes it sweeter, makes you want to do it more, fight for the guy that's next to you, the guy that's behind you. With those injuries, that's the type of thing I think that has to happen throughout a year. And I think that's been a really, really big reason of why we've kind of gotten over the hump this year as opposed to years past.
Matt in the back.
Rhys, you and a lot of your teammates got to experience postseason for the first time. Ranger hasn't yet. What is it about him you think will allow him to handle this moment? I know you've talked in the past about how cool he is out there.
Yeah, I mean, just watch, right? Like, I'm not sure he'll sweat tomorrow. That's just the slow heartbeat that he has. He's never in a hurry. It just seems like the game is going in slow motion for him, which I can tell you that the first time I stepped onto the field in St. Louis, it was not going in slow motion. It's just the reality of, I think, the playoffs, right? It's every moment is intense, I think, as soon as you wake up in the morning. But that intensity, I think, is something that we crave as athletes. I know Ranger's a heck of a competitor as well, under that cool, calm, and collected that he shows throughout the game. So I'm excited to see, what that competitor brings out in him in this situation.
Matt down here.
Rhys, it seems like that Kyle Schwarber has a pretty loud voice in your room. How long did that take for him to establish himself, especially, there's a lot of established, respected guys, and just what has he meant to you, to the team all season in that role? Yeah,
I think just Schwarber as a guy, as a dude, right? Not a baseball player. Obviously, what he does on the field speaks volumes. Speaks for itself. I think it gives him a little bit of credibility for when he does speak up. But just the type of guy that he is, the way he cares about us as individuals, not as ball players. Even the staff too, right? Like this is a guy that knew he was going to be here for 4 years, had a goal of winning a championship, saw, I think, the talent and the knowledge and experience that was here in the clubhouse between players and staff, and made it a point to be the guy that he's been for us, the voice, the heartbeat. And it's not always with his voice, right? It's something that I think he carries. Although maybe he's not speaking, he is setting the tone just by the way that he goes about his work. And that's something that I think you find on every winning team.
Jim?
Rhys, as an offense in St. Louis, you guys went 9 for 57. Do you feel like you put a lot of stress on the pitching staff? How important is it to do more offensively as a club? And is there anything that you guys can do to help that offense come alive?
Yeah, 9 for 57, you said, so 9 hits. I know I actually was just speaking with K Long. I think we had 10 guys reach base via walk or hit by pitch throughout the series too. So I've spoke about this all year. If we have opportunities and there's traffic on the bases, the more stressful those pitches are for the other side. Eventually we're going to get a mistake, and that's kind of what we've done all year. We've had big innings like you saw in St. Louis. But I think just the quality of bats is something that we're going to try to continue on for the rest of the time that we're playing. We're facing the studs, right? It's hard to get hits off these guys. It's hard to string hits together. But I think if we continue to have quality at bats, take our walks when they're presented to us, take the extra base, have opportunities to score with less than 2 outs, eventually we'll push runs across. And I think that's kind of what you saw in the 9th inning there in St. Louis. More hits is better usually, but I've learned quickly that it's hard to get hits in the postseason. Just getting guys on is kind of where we're trying to be.
We'll take one more on the right side.
Rhys, going off on that, you guys seen Max Fried a lot over the years. What makes him so tough to hit, and how much of a challenge is this Atlanta pitching staff going to be?
Yeah, really the whole staff. It starts with Max tomorrow. I think the biggest thing I've seen from Max over my years facing him is just the growth in his pitch arsenal and the confidence he has really in throwing any pitch in any zone. Incredible stuff, a high-octane fastball that's gets on you even though it's already 95, 96. Obviously the big breaking curveball, but he's added a slider, a changeup. He sinks the ball a little bit now instead of it just being a riding four-seamer. And that's tough. When a guy can do multiple things with the fastball and keep you off balance multiple ways, it can be tough. So we'll try to keep him in the zone tomorrow. It usually attacks you pretty well, but just with the multitude of the stuff that he has, many different layers to it, we'll really have to be disciplined getting him in the zone tomorrow.
Thanks for coming in, Rhys.
Yeah, thanks, guys.